All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Chuka, and I'm your host for Coffee with Hiretual today. I'm honored to be hosting this session. I do want to confess, I'm not a coffee drinker. I've never drank coffee in my life. I don't know if you call this, but it's actually tea. So maybe tea with hire. In fact, honestly, it's probably been a bit more like water with Hiretual because my tea was so hot when I put it in the kettle. So I do appreciate the time to be able to host the show today. Just a little bit about myself. My career has mostly been in the tech space. I've been in Silicon Valley slash Silicon Beach since 2008. Right now, I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Diversity.io. That's diversity with a C. And we focus on helping companies find access to diverse talent. I am also a customer of Hiretual, proud customer, might I add. And our team is 100% remote. And we've been doing this for a long time. We're so grateful for the opportunity again. So just a quick rundown of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to first go over the questions that came from social media. So we have about 3 of those that we were able to amass for the time, which I'm sure will go quick. And then I'm going to just end with a few tips that I've picked up in our experience. Okay, so our first question today is, what communication tools do you and your remote team mostly use? I think this is a great question, especially given the times that we're in. A lot of companies now are forced to work remotely. In fact, I'm pretty sure after the dust settles, a lot of companies are going to continue to work remotely as well. So it's important that teams are able to go with this flow. In our case, we've been remote since 2013. So when the pandemic hit, not much changed for us because we were already used to remote operations. So as far as the tools that we use, Slack, I think that's a no-brainer. Everyone uses Slack. Everyone already knows. I don't have much to say about that because it's like that's what they were made for. I'm not even sure they realized that they were made in a way as to facilitate remote teams, not just teams that work in person. So it's incredible. It's our best friend. Then as far as video conferencing goes, Zoom, plain and simple. We've tried them all. Join Me, Google Hangouts, Skype, WebEx. Zoom is where we've landed. It's an incredible tool for video conferencing. We also use Google Docs. There's no way that we would be where we are today if not for what Google Docs has helped us with. Of course, we had to configure a lot of the sheets and the documents that we have, but it just helps us keep organized. It helps us stay very organized and in communication with each other. We also use Trello for task management. And we're also considering a tool called Notion. I'm not sure if you've heard of Notion, but if you haven't, check it out. It seems like they're the next frontier as far as helping you manage across the different tools that you use. So that's pretty much our suite of tools that help us operate remotely. There is one called Tandem. I think Tandem is for if it's very important that your team is working at the same time. I think Tandem would be a great tool for that. As far as recruiting goes, because we are a recruiting tech company, Hiretual, of course, I mentioned that earlier. I think it's an incredible tool, and I'll talk about that in the next question, actually. We also use LinkedIn Recruiter Pro services as well. So the next question is, are there any special techniques that go into diversity sourcing? I think this question is key because diversity sourcing is still very much a mystery. It's not quite demystified yet, and that is the goal of our companies, to demystify diversity hiring. Because it is important. Companies can be 41% more profitable when they focus more on when their diversity representation is more balanced. So in our case, it's a mix of things, right? It's not a perfect science. Like our goal is to get it to that point. But right now, there are several things that are working for us. One, we use Hiretual. I think Hiretual is incredible for diversity sourcing because they do have filters that help you specifically target, whether it's based on gender, whether it's based on ethnicity, whether it's based on your veteran status, and it's only going to continue to improve from there. So I think the most important thing is just being able to be direct as to what you're looking for. Are you trying to help a company get more balanced in terms of gender? If it's already 50-50 gender-wise, are you going to help them get more balance in form of ethnicity, for instance? So it's case by case, but the whole idea is that you don't have to be all over the place for finding the talent. I think right now, a lot of folks tend to be all over the place, whether it's on this tool or this conference or that conference or this network or that. But the idea is if you could consolidate your sourcing for diverse talent, you're more likely to find it more easily. So the other thing I would recommend is also hacky ways of doing it. So for instance, on LinkedIn, they don't necessarily have any diversity filters, but you can, in the keyword section, put in a bunch of keywords that generally represent underrepresented contingents. So you can message me offline for that because there's something that we've compiled in our time as well. And then last but not the least, I will also recommend diversity.io. That is what we do. Our goal is to build a network of underrepresented talent of all kinds. We try to be very inclusive because there is not just one type of diversity, right? It takes all forms and sizes, right? Whether it's your ethnicity, your gender, your nationality, your disability, your age, your religion. So it just really depends on, again, what sort of representation that a company or a client might be looking for. But the fact of the matter is that the more diverse you are, the more profitable you will be, and the happier your employees will be as well, because that generally forces a little bit of a lot more inclusion. So that's something I'm always happy to talk about offline, and I would love to stay in touch with the folks that want to take that conversation offline as well. So our final question is, if there are team members working in different time zones or regions for one hiring task, how do you assign tasks and expectations to make sure that you have the best productivity? So for a remote team, this is a very important topic. One benefit that comes with remote teams is that you don't have to look for talent in any one place, right? Like our team is made up of people in Dallas, in Spain, in Germany, in Lagos, Nigeria, which is where I'm from. Shout out to the motherland. And of course, people in California as well. So we have about 5 different time zones represented on our team. Thankfully, on the recruiting team, we don't have that many time zones stretched across the team. It's, I think, about a couple, like Pacific time and Mountain time. But we did once have someone in South Africa who was also helping with recruiting. So the key thing I would advise as far as recruiting goes is to make sure that there is communication, that you understand what your teammates' schedules are, so that you can coordinate and plan with them, right? And then in terms of keeping track of work, that's also another area. If I'm working at 3 a.m., it doesn't matter what time zone I'm in. If I'm 3 a.m. Pacific time, more than likely everyone else is going to be sleeping. So the most important thing is that people can keep track of your progress as long as it affects the whole team's operations. And of course, we have at least several weekly sync ups where we're all online at the same time. So that helps as well. So that's the third question. At this point, I'm just going to share a few thoughts on my experience in this space. So we are in a time where a lot of companies are panicking or just trying to figure out what they're going to do. A lot of companies are having to work remotely. There have been a lot of layoffs, of course, so there's a lot of talent. So I think it's important now more than ever probably to ensure that you're really thinking about meeting needs of the company that you're helping and also the candidates that you're trying to help. Right? And the reality is that some people may be more desperate because, I need a job. And some companies may also be a little more reticent. But I think it's more important than ever to put yourself in the shoes of both and think about how you could solve the problem in a more specific way. And that'll probably save time in the long run, right? Versus shooting blanks, if you will. So I'm a very organized person by nature. We try to build everything around efficient and organized operations. So this is something I highly recommend. Whether it's the way you follow up with folks or keep track of the people you're reaching out to, or the job opportunities that are there, or the roles that are open that could use people of diverse background. I think it's important to just be on top of all those things, but think about it in a way that can scale, right? So for messaging, for instance, we really appreciate Hiretual's engagement sequence tool, where we're able to follow up with folks in a way that can scale, but is also personalized. So I think it's just key to think of how scalable the work that you're doing is, especially if you're having to work remote. So all that said, I really appreciate the time. I'm Chuka Ikokwu, founder of diversity.io. That's diversity with a C. If you want to get a hold of me, you can send me an email directly. My first name, CHUKA, @diversity.io. You could also follow me on Twitter. That's Chuka2005, @Chuka2005. So if you want to follow me on Twitter, that will also be a great route as well. And you could add me on LinkedIn as well. I believe my LinkedIn link should be included in the link. But I really appreciate the time. I'm honored. There's a lot of work to do. Let's get out there and let's get it done. Thank you.